Hi, Megan. I'm your host. I'm your tech person. Sorry. Just thought I'd let you know that so you're aware.
Okay, I'm off mute now, so that's good. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, awesome.
I don't think it's full screen though. If you wanted to make it full screen, you could, if that was what your goal was.
Um, is there a way to move? I think to make it full screen, it's in the right-hand corner.
I think just on your little, like to the right of where your cursor was, where the Canva emblem is,
Yeah,
on the bottom right, I think there's a little button that looks like it might make it full screen.
like this one.
No, to the right, all the way to the other end.
Yeah, it's just because let me see if I can downsize. There we go. Now I can do it. There we go.
You got it. There you go.
So, should I wait a couple minutes or is everyone here?
I think that's your call. It's up to you.
Okay.
Looks like you've got a good chunk of people in the room with us already. So
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, I'll get started. Thank you for being here today. My name is Megan Kimler, and I work for Umoja Mosaic, which is an organization in Calgary. And my colleague Joel Malouf was supposed to be here today with me, but unfortunately he couldn't be here. So it's just me. I am the volunteer coordinator with Umoja. So I work with a lot of children and youth as part of our community programming. And I make sure that we have lots of volunteers attending our programs. I also work on our social media and attend some of our soccer programs, after school programs. So I'm kind of a little bit of everywhere, but it's nice. It's always different. Each day is different. And so today I'm going to talk to you about really what Umoja does, which is finding community and having people be involved in the community. We do work with a lot of new immigrants to Canada. We work in a lot of public housing areas throughout Calgary. So we have what we call hubs in each quadrant of the city. So we have in the southeast, southwest, northeast, and northwest. And so we bring a lot of programs into the communities where people are living, and we kind of meet them where they're at, whether it's through soccer, after school programs, homework club, and tutoring. We try to find a way to work with the communities and get them involved. And so, go to my next slide here. So Umoja started actually about 12 years ago. It started as, it actually was formerly called Soccer Without Boundaries. And it really started as a grassroots soccer program. The picture there in the top kind of corner of your screen, the top left, with all the young children, that was one of the first groups to go through Umoja or Soccer Without Boundaries. And so some of these young people actually now work for our organization as soccer coaches. There's two boys in the picture that they received full scholarships down to the States to play football, and they have very promising careers ahead of them. So even though we started as a grassroots soccer community, we really try and connect people to education, to sport, and or whatever they may need. The corner picture, the bottom corner picture, this is our food program coordinator. Her name is Widad, and she basically coordinates our whole food program. So we offer food to families that require support. And all of our food, we have a lot of culturally appropriate food. So what we were finding is that people would go to the food bank and there would be food that they were not familiar with. They didn't know how to cook with. They didn't know, how to eat it, even spaghetti, things like spaghetti. If you're from Northeastern Africa, you've probably never had spaghetti. So we carry a lot of different flours, like cassava flour and teff flour. so that people really, they can um, they can cook with those things, and it kind of gives them that sense of feeling like they're at home and just that dignity. So this is the founder of the organization. His name is Jean-Claude, and I always get his last name wrong, but Menu Zamnu. And he started the program about 12 years ago as a new immigrant to Canada from Rwanda. He noticed that the neighborhood he was living in, there was a lot of problems. The kids weren't playing at the parks. The parks often had, you know, drugs. There was crime going on. And so he thought, well, what can I do to change this? I want my kids to play in the park. I want them to feel safe. And so one day he took a soccer ball and he went out to the park and he started knocking on kids' doors, telling them to come play soccer. And from there it grew. And today we have over 700 kids involved in our soccer programs. We connect kids to soccer clubs. And we kind of meet them where they're at. So if they're wanting to learn how to play soccer, we have, you know, soccer programs, drop-in soccer. If they're wanting to participate on a team, but they maybe financially, their families don't have the means to do that, we find a way to get them on a team. So it's really connecting and breaking down those barriers. So as Jean-Claude says, everything we do is to help kids and their families feel like they belong to a larger community. And now I'm gonna actually just share a video. This is a video we made last year of just talking about the organization and really how we try to create a sense of belonging within the communities.
Megan, the sound's not coming through for us.
It's not coming through.
Yeah, if you there's an option on your Zoom if you go to the where you're screen sharing along the top right, with the screen sharing options. I don't know if you see that in your screen, but there's a little icon that says more.
Okay.
And if you click on that and then click optimize screen share for video clip.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just see if that helps with the sound here.
Okay. So I'm gonna play it. Yeah, I clicked on it. So we'll see if
Perfect, that works, thanks.
When you are new in the place, something called social exclusion it's that drove people into poverty, lack of access. What we do basically is we feed that need, whether it's food, whether it's participation in sport, whether it's leadership, and give kids direction and the opportunity. We created something based on community ownership, where rather than helping people, actually we give people opportunity to serve with us.
Umoja has grown from a simple soccer program to a whole neighborhood movement. And this year we've actually expanded this movement into 4 new neighborhoods in 4 quadrants of Calgary. We're there at the doors with the families, and they're making you a cup of tea and they're talking to you about what their needs are and how they want to be part of the solution. And that's what really fosters a sense of belonging. And when you belong, that's when you start to see the possibilities of what you can do.
I think belonging to something is knowing you can come back and feel happy, like feel accepted.
So I've been a part of the tutoring program, and I've been part of Soccer Without Boundaries, and now Umoja Community Mosaic as a board member.
Belonging means like home, like somewhere that you'll be treated nice and the same as other people.
We have kids from Eritrea, we have kids from Sudan, we have kids from Somalia, we have kids from Canada. We truly believe in the growth of the person. And when we see a lot of these kids coming into the program, we believe incorporating them within these certain values that Umoja has. One of the big ones is respect. You know, respecting others, respecting each other. And when you can do that, that tends to grow within not only the kids, but it tends to grow within the community too as well. You don't have, or you don't grow up with certain things, and you have to face challenges. You step onto the field and it's just all about that ball. It's about your teammates. It's about trying to achieve a common goal. And I think when you have a common goal, when you can speak the same language, which is that soccer ball itself, magic starts to happen. I think that makes it easy for the kids to connect. And I think it's easy for the community to connect.
The sense of belonging and the breaking down of boundaries comes from the sense of being able to get and give. This organization has helped me realize that as much as I've gotten, you know, I'm able to make a difference in somebody else's life. And that makes me feel a sense of belonging because I'm a valued member of this organization.
Relationships are the antidote to exclusion. When we build relationships, we foster a sense of friendship, trust, mutual support, and that's what Umoja does really well. We do social inclusion. That's our big project. The reason we have so much participation, whether it's through our soccer program, whether we have a high rate of families that we support through our food program, or whether we have a waiting list for kids who want tutoring, it's because we build relationships and there's an inherent trust in those relationships. So when you have a kid who's playing soccer and is really committed but is struggling in school, we have tutors who, you know, give their time after school. During COVID, we provided laptops to all those kids so that they could access remote or online services. We see kids who are experiencing trauma and who are acting out or who are having difficulties fitting in. This year, we introduced mental health supports for some of those kids, where we actually had a play therapist, mental health counselor attend some of our soccer camps and helped to work with some of those kids that really had a hard time fitting in.
We were having this camp at Marlborough, and these kids, we didn't know that they'd just been in Canada for 3 weeks. So they were speaking Hebrew. They didn't know anybody in Canada. They had a language barrier. But there's something about sports, it's universal, right? So we invited him in and we used the translator and we were able to connect with the mom. And I was surprised when we were playing games with the children on day 3. He took a role in playing Duck, Duck, Goose, and he came to me and tapped me, and it just hit me like in 3 days he'd been able to socialize, he'd been able to learn the language. He made his first friends at the soccer camp.
And all that does is foster a sense of place. It gives them a sense of belonging. They feel like they're part of something. And it just gets better from there for many of these kids.
Young people that grew up in the soccer program. All of those kids go on to post-secondary.
We teach those kids and mentor them in this idea of serving rather than being served. And this makes these children actually feel that they're somebody, they are contributing to whatever is happening. And that's huge, because if you come to our camp and see who is volunteering and who is working, you will see every color of skin, you will see every nationalities, every language. And one thing we do is we empower them to make decisions. And that's the reside with our idea of community development.
You've worked with John Class, so you kind of know. He's very like on his feet, like he's everywhere almost. Like he's doing, like he will do the secretary job and he will be going out CEO and like bringing in the money. So it's so great for me personally because he's been such a like coach. Like I still have him saved as coach on my phone to this day.
And again, it goes back to Jean-Claude. He's a total visionary, he's driven, he never quits. And the pandemic was a great example when really lots of things were shut down. and then he's feeding hundreds of families that, you know, can't participate in life as they normally would.
This our culturally appropriate food hamper again was born as a means to solve the problems in the community due to COVID. We are very informed and educated about culturally appropriate food because of community we serve. We listen to them and we adjust accordingly. This is 2 flowers that make Angela. So again, Ethiopian community, we have to have this into their food hamper. Then people from Nigeria, Ghana, and other African communities, this is pounded yam. Without this, there's no food in the house. You know, we have First Nation families we have, and also mainstream Canadian. This is a public housing, so people who live here, they need the food. So again, we have a food here that is breakfast, very popular, and making sure that everybody have what they need. Also, we try to do one very unusual things because of COVID. We did teach everyone to cook spaghetti. At the beginning of the pandemic, when I started delivering food to families, I was standing outside and teaching them how to cook spaghetti because it's involved boiling water, and all of this food I show you, cooking them is involved boiling water. So today, almost every family we serve food, they know also how to cook spaghetti, and they love it. This is the food the children are taking to school now. While before, some children used to dump their lunch because, you know, they didn't look like the food other children bring to school. The family think the kids took food to school, and the school think the parent did not give children food to bring to school. So there were intervention that sometimes is not necessary. It's just a lack of information and understanding. So
I believe that we are supporting an organization that is genuinely trying to build relationships and community. It's not just delivering food. There's a lot more to it than that.
Food, which is familiar to someone that they haven't seen for a long time, you see a physical reaction in their face and their body. When they see something that makes them feel like they're home. Sorry. And it makes them feel like they belong.
When people call or register in the program, I ask them questions like, where are you from and how long have you been here? And that's how I know what to give them in their hamper. It's important for them to have traditional food that they eat from their country because in this organization, we always talk about belonging, and we want everybody to feel like they belong.
With this food, I'm being able to provide for my kids and also pay my bills. Once I get it from here and eating it makes me feel like I belong, experience the Canada culture and also as well as my own culture. So it's like a blend to help me function in my everyday life.
One mother called me and she told me, thank you, because of this program I could buy a pair of shoes for my son, which made me really happy and emotional that, you know, we're making a difference out there. From the food program, I got to, learn more about these families, and we had this beautiful bond where they started telling me some of their troubles and that their kids needed help. And I introduced them to the tutoring program, to the soccer program, to the camp program. Today, actually, I got a phone call from a dad saying, thank you so much. Thank you so much for keeping my son busy, because he's a single dad and he has one child. His son doesn't really interact with a lot of kids, and when his dad came on the field today and saw all these kids from different backgrounds, he was like, wow, that's amazing. And he just called me, he was like, thank you so much. This is what my child needs. He needs to feel like he's home, and at the same time, he's being introduced to other children and other backgrounds and from other countries.
I've had knowledge of the program for a while now because it's very well known in the community. I wanted to reach out to Jean-Claude because I thought it was a great program for kids. I thought it was a great program for the community, and also partnership with the Calgary Police Service.
You can see throughout the 12 years I've been involved, these kids grow up into leaders and productive members of the community and on into university for some of them.
And when you are in public housing and you see families from all over the world speaking 30, 40 different languages, and the one thing that they have in common is they all want their children to succeed. They all want their children to thrive, and they all want their children to feel like they fit in and they belong. That's the focus of what we do, because we have one common objective: for everybody to participate equally, to have access to civic engagement, to have access to everyday activities that we can all enjoy, participate in, grow and thrive. And that's what Umoja does.
This is one of the most inspiring, practical, and results-driven organizations that I've seen.
Umoja, it brings people together. Umoja is changed my life, and I want to change somebody else's life. That's why I'm still in the program.
Well, we give people opportunity to define what they need. They can be part of the solution in the neighborhood. And this relationship is meaningful because it's not one way. This is almost like equal relationship, and that's healthy. People, they see themselves as they are valued, and that's very important when you talk about belonging.
All right, now I'm not sure how to get to my next slide. Let's just see here. So, oh, thank you. I just looking at the chat and I see a few people made some comments. So thank you so much for your kind words. I'm not sure how to move to my next slide. Let me just see here. And I'm just wondering if everyone can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you here.
Okay, that's good. Okay, I think I got it here. Oh, that's not it. Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so, you know, basically that video kind of just explains everything and what we do. And I love showing it because it really shows, you know, it's a story, right? And our program is very much has lots of stories. So the one thing the video doesn't touch on is our youth leadership, education, and mentorship. So we run what's called Kick On. It's a leadership camp for youth, and we usually run it about 2 to 3 times a year. And so this is for youth that are in high school. It's usually 16 to about 21, 22. And it's a week-long camp. And they basically each day learn a different fundamental. So there's like 5 fundamentals. So they learn about resourcefulness, routines, respect, things like that. And so we have guest speakers come throughout the week. In the bottom corner, the bottom right corner, actually those two really tall, large gentlemen, those were two boys that grew up. Their picture I kind of mentioned earlier. They're both got full scholarships to play American football in the States. And the gentleman on the left, the far left, he actually received 17 different offers for full scholarship in the States. So they have both very promising futures. They're both taking business and they're doing amazing. So they actually were here over the Christmas break and came up and talked to our youth. We ran the camp in January, the first week of January. And so it was really inspiring to hear their stories, how they came to Canada as new Canadians and started getting into trouble. And then they met Jean-Claude, got into the soccer program, started just getting huge in size. And Jean-Claude said, maybe soccer isn't for you, but I know a sport that is. Got him involved in football. And from there, they just took off. And that's what we do. We try to meet people where they're at, connect them. And this camp especially, I work a lot with the youth and I connect them with post-secondary. So I help them with scholarship applications. We connect them with post-secondary, whether it's at SAIT, Mount Royal, Bow Valley, U of C. I actually am going to Mount Royal this afternoon with two young men that are applying for Mount Royal. We find ways to support them and even offering to pay for their admission into the university because I love this cartoon picture. It's showing, you know, the barriers that are often faced. And we see that with our youth, even just the $100 application fee to apply to a university, it's sometimes just not possible for them. And so we want to give them those opportunities to be able to succeed and to really bridge that gap for access to post-secondary education. We all know that you know, if they're able to go to post-secondary, chances are their future is going to be a lot more successful and they're going to have more opportunities than if they didn't go on after high school. And our goal is to have everyone that goes through our programs attend some sort of post-secondary training, whether that's in a trade, whether that's at a college or university level. It's so important, and we're just ensuring those barriers are removed so that they do have an opportunity to attend. And so this is just kind of an overview of our core areas. So we do a lot. I think the video explained it, but we have the food program, we have education support, we have community connection. Really, it's a wraparound kind of thing in that, you know, a lot of the youth that go through our Kick-On program, you'll probably have noticed in the video, they end up coming back and they give back and they volunteer and they mentor the younger kids. And so it's a really amazing model in that you get to give and then you receive and then you give back, right? And so we have a lot of our youth that participate and help out with after school programs, tutoring, and soccer programs. And they really become role models and mentors for the younger kids in the program. So it's just a really inspiring model. And so, you know, I have to talk about value of volunteering because that's my area. So obviously, you know, it's so important to volunteer. And I keep telling a lot of the youth, especially, that scholarships are now often looking for volunteer and community work. And so it's so important to get out there and to be a part of the community. And you know, often when you give, you feel good. So if anyone's inspired or would like to be involved, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to chat more. So I'm going to open it up. I don't even know what time we're at. I'm probably ran over, but if there's a few minutes left, I'd love to answer any questions people have. And yeah, I know, thank you so much for coming today, for listening, for being a part of this. It's been really such an honor to be able to present to you today what we are doing. And yeah, if anyone does have any questions, I'll open it up to anyone that wants to ask, either in the chat or I think you can talk too. Maybe I'll stop sharing my screen here. There. Yeah, I can share a link to the video for sure. I just see a few comments in there. Let me see if I can find the link, and then I can share it in the bottom there for you. And there should be one on our website as well. That video is on our website. Did anyone else? I think everyone's muted. I don't know if there's a way for I can unmute people.
I think people should be able to unmute if they want.
If they can unmute themselves. Okay, perfect.
On my part, Megan, thank you for sharing. That was a really inspiring program that I knew very little about. So I really appreciate the sharing back of that and some of the amazing things that are going on in the city here. So thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, there's lots going on, and yeah, if you guys are in the city and you're around a soccer field, chances are one of our programs might be running there. So always feel free to pop by. All of our soccer programs are free. Again, as a way to ensure that there are no barriers for people to participate. So in soccer, it's always free. And, in the winter time, we run in Genesis. So everyone's welcome.
There is one question there, Megan, about what's the core location.
Okay. Yeah, so our main hub is out of Glenbrook, which is in Southwest Calgary. So that's where we run our food program out of. And that's where Jean-Claude typically works out of. I work out of there a little bit as well. So, but we also have hubs around the city. So one of our social workers, she works in the Northwest. I often work in the Southeast. And then we have a couple social workers and a psychologist that works out of the Northeast as well. So yeah, I see someone has their hand up. Bianca?
Hi, thank you. Great presentation. I was just wondering for the soccer programs, so is it just it's open to anybody, like newcomers, any children that just want to come out? And so are they drop in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of our information is on our website under programs. And the registration link's there too. It's just a simple Google form. So it's free of charge. There's no cost to our drop-in programs. And we almost run them nightly from Monday to Sunday. So throughout the city. So Wednesday today actually is our only day that we don't have soccer.
Okay.
Because it's raining. So.
Yeah, I know. Okay, that's good. Okay, I will share this then with our families at Trellis.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah, and we know Trellis really well, and share a hub with them actually in Southeast. So
yes.
Yeah, we have all through the city. Like we have up in Edgemont, we have soccer on Thursday nights. Sundays we're at Marlborough. On Saturdays we're at Glenbrook, and we also have girls only programs as well.
Awesome.
So we're really trying to encourage girls, young girls, to stay in sport and stay active. And
Yeah.
so we have 2 different soccer programs where we run for just girls, because what we find is they often, especially as they get older, they don't want to play with the boys. And it's creating a space for them too, right? Where they
Yeah.
feel safe and where they can come and just play.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Megan. It's Rebecca. I think my hand was up, but I think I may have lowered it.
Mhm.
I just I love this whole thing. I love this whole idea of things. And you talked about one of the barriers that folks have. 2 of them are language, and the soccer ball kind of takes care of that. And you have translators on site. Financial. I love this idea of the funding for entrance fees, for admission fees, because those can be tough for a lot of people. I'm wondering if there's any other accessibility considerations you've taken for soccer, for like with that intersectionality of if you don't speak English and you do suffer with some hearing loss, or you might be in a wheelchair. I'm just wondering how that works, or if that's a different conversation.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, that's a really good question. And we do have, okay, so with regards to the language, many of our coaches, so our programs are not just run by volunteers. We also, a lot of our coaches, you probably saw Joel actually in the video, he was supposed to be here today. So he speaks a couple different languages fluently. And then Jean-Claude actually speaks, I think 12 languages. So he usually covers a lot. As well, we have a lot of young people that in our programs that can translate. So, if we have, I know some of the parents that come, if they, if they don't speak English and I'm communicating with them, I can sometimes go and grab a kid that I know does speak their language, and then they can translate for us. So if all else fails and we don't have the language, we use our phones and we do like a Google Translate. So that always works. But usually we have enough people there that there's someone that can translate. So one of our volunteers, he speaks Spanish, so we got that covered too. And yeah, is in regards to having maybe accessibility. So we do have children that come to our program that have a variety of different exceptionalities. And so that's why we have volunteers and we have coaches. So we actually had a young boy come to drop in soccer at Genesis, and he had just moved from India to Canada. So he spoke no English, and he also had braces on his legs. So he had been born with the club foot, and so he's had multiple surgeries. And so again, we want everyone to participate and feel welcome on the field. And so I matched him up with a volunteer, and that volunteer just kind of worked with him, but also with the whole group. So to make sure he felt safe, that it was safe, and that he still could participate. And he loved it. He would just run with the kids, and it was fantastic. We don't have, as far as anyone with wheelchairs, we haven't experienced that yet. So I can't say for sure. I don't even know how that works with the turf and things like that. But we do have children that, we have a number of children that participate that have autism, and, different types of disabilities, right? We have a few that wear hearing aids, that sort of thing. So definitely it's an environment where everyone's welcome. It's an environment where it's fun, and we want kids to be able to play. So this isn't competitive soccer. This is just meeting people where they're at, and they can just put in their 100% and whatever that is, right? Obviously, if we get kids that are really competitive, they really want to be on a team, then we work to get them on a team. We partner with a lot of different soccer clubs in Calgary. Cal Glen is probably our biggest one. And so we help them get on a team. And if they need support with funding, then we find the funding for it so that they can play.
Thank you so much. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so what I think I'll do, because I don't know how to like find the link while I'm still sharing, but I will share our video link. We actually have two different videos. We have a shorter version and then the longer version, which I showed. So I'll share it with the host and then maybe she can send it out to everyone. I think it is also on our website. So if you go to our website, you can find out that information. I will put that on the bottom of our screen here. So again, thank you everyone. I think I saw a 2-minute warning. So if no one else has any questions, again, thank you so much for joining today and for listening. Oh, Bianca, that's just a hand clap. Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate everyone coming today. It's been lovely. So thank you.